So today I'm going to bring you along and we're going to play with the pasta machine. This is a Philips 7000 series, and it comes with 7 different pasta shape attachments. I'm going to make a confession. I played with this yesterday, and I did not know what I was doing. I had to bring the husband in here and show me what I was doing wrong. I thought I did a lot of research on the internet with YouTubes and everything, but he did a better job than I did. I want to show you what I was doing yesterday and what I was doing wrong. And I'll explain that in just a minute. Now this is the first time I'm using this, and I'm using it with you guys. So we have it all assembled. We have the auger in there attached to the back. We have a pasta plate. It's all bolted down. I'm going to go ahead and just do a 2-cup measure, because you can use 1 cup of flour with the proper amount of liquid, or you can use 2 cups of flour. And since I want to test out each one of these attachments, we're going to go ahead and do 2 cups of flour. So that's 2 cups of all-purpose flour. We have to put the lid on. This is the measuring cup it comes with, and it has a 1 cup line and the 2 cup line. I'm going to do 2 eggs. And we're going to add enough water until it reaches the 2 cup line. Let's beat the eggs and the water together. And I do want to add salt to my pasta. So I'm going to add a teaspoon of salt. We'll put the lid back on. Turn it on. Okay, it's turning. And now we're going to go ahead and add our liquid. And the timer is showing 1.53 minutes, counting down. All right, now it reversed. I think it's going to start shooting out the front. Let's see. No, I think it's too wet. Doesn't look like it's being pushed. Alright, we're going to give it a few more minutes and see what it does. I'm going to pause it, take a peek inside. And it will not turn on with the lid off. That is interesting. Okay, I'll bring you right back when I can figure out what I'm doing wrong. So when I was playing with this machine yesterday, I was reading the instructions, and in the instruction manual, they have a basic pasta recipe. Now they measure by grams, which is what we ended up doing. I did not show you that. But it talks about, if you go to page 11, if you have this machine in English, it says 1 cup of flour. I use the 1 cup measure that comes with my canisters. They meant 1 cup of their measurement, And I'm going to weigh this and tell you what the difference is. So we're going to use the handy little bowl the husband got us for Christmas. I'm going to put it on grams. So if we do 1 leveled cup of the measuring cup that comes with the canister, it weighs 162 grams. Now if we use their measuring cup, level off at the top, it's 227 grams. So when it says 1 cup, it doesn't mean the United States 1 cup measure. It means their measure. But it also gives you the measurements for grams. That's what we're going to do. But before we go any further, I want to go ahead and set this machine up. Now my goal is to test this machine with water only, with water and egg, and water, egg, and oil. Their recipe is not calling for any oil in their pasta, but when I make homemade pasta, I put just a little bit of oil in it just to help loosen up that dough just a bit. We did eat the pasta that I ended up making yesterday. Sorry, I didn't bring you along. This machine was starting to frustrate me. But it didn't have oil in it, and I don't like the texture. So that's why I want to do it with flour, water, egg, flour, water, egg, and oil to see which one we like the best. And I will boil them separately, and then we'll do a taste test. But we need to put this machine together first before we go any further. So here's the unit, and right here on the top is the digital screen. There's a spot right there where the auger goes into. So everything's been washed and dried. We're going to put the dough bowl in its place. So this is the mixer and the auger. The mixer will mix it going in one direction, and then when it's ready to extrude the pasta, it'll go the opposite direction so that the dough will be pushed out the front. So we're going to put that in here. Put it in that auger hole right there. Then we have the machine front. Line up the screw holes. And the auger is sitting right there. In this drawer, we have all the attachments. I'm going to use the linguine blade first. So we need to put that right here. Snap it into place. And another problem I had yesterday is when it was extruding the pasta out, it actually pushed this attachment and wedged it in here, and this is the face front, and I was unable to get that out. I had to get my husband to assist me into getting it out. He was able to get it out with a little bit of oil and tap it just a bit with a hammer. I'm glad I wasn't in the house when he did that, because that would have scared me. So he suggested we put just a little bit of oil right here on the inside of this faceplate. So I'm just going to put a dab of olive oil on this paper towel. And I'm just going to put that right there. Probably more than what I needed, but I don't want it to do that again. So then we have to line this up. Tighten these bolts until everything comes together. Okay. Now as for the lid, it does not hinge. It has little spots back here and some feet right there that you put in, and it snaps closed. It's not closed completely. Well, it is closed completely, but it doesn't look like it's closed completely because it has an edge. And now we're ready to make pasta. So you have to lift this little white piece right there, and that unlatches it so you can pull it out. The machine will not work if the lid's not on, so you have to be able to put the little pegs right in that spot right there in order to activate it. So I'm going to put 500 grams of flour, which is supposed to be 2 of these cups, not 2 of these cups. And that's actually 471. So I'm going to add until we get to 500. Go ahead and add our flour in. And the other thing I noticed, let me wipe this out some, is that I was unable to see these lines because it gives you just a water measurement if you're doing a 1 cup or 2 cups, and then a water egg measurement with 1 cup or 2 cups. And I thought the line was straight across, and it's not. It's actually just a tad bit more liquid when you're adding egg. But since we're doing just water, we're going to do this side. And I was unable to read or see those lines, so I put a permanent marker right there just so I could see it better. So I'm going to fill it up to the 2 cup, which is not 2 cups of liquid, it's because we have 2 cups of flour, measurement for just water. And with those markings on there, I can actually see it better. So we have the flour. I put salt in my pasta, but we're gonna make it just the way they say, and then we'll taste it and see if we need to add salt. So we're gonna put the lid on, snap it closed, start the machine, and it beeps. So once we hit this button right here, the start button, it's going to start mixing. And then we have to slowly add our liquid, and it's going to mix for 3 minutes, and then it'll go the opposite direction and start extruding out the pasta. I'm going to bring you in closer to the machine so we can see it together. On. So it's going to turn in that direction. Timer has started. Let's go ahead and add the liquid. And this is just water. We have 2 minutes and 18 seconds left. And I notice it is not a dough ball when it starts extruding. It's actually very flaky. But I think the pressure of it pushing out is what actually forms the dough ball. Can you see how it looks flaky? It doesn't actually look like a dough ball. That's what I was talking about. In 5 seconds, it's going to stop and go the opposite direction to start extruding. It stopped, and now it's going the opposite direction. And there it goes. It's starting to come out right now. The first is always a little shaggy, so I'm just going to get rid of that. Nope, I am not liking this pasta. Now there's no salt, no egg, no oil. And it comes out very warm, which is surprising to me because it's room temperature water. All right, now it's starting to look like dough. I'm just going to set that aside. And I could probably put that right back inside and let it continue. But we're just experimenting. We're going to be wasting a lot of pasta today. And you can make it as long or as short as you like. So what do you think, family? Do you think this is feasible? And this is the face cutter. It's a whole lot faster than doing it by hand, I could tell you that, but it's a learning curve we're going to have to get through. I mean, it's really pretty. When we're testing the rest of our experimental pasta, I'm going to do the 1 cup measure or 250 grams of flour. That way we're not wasting so much. All right, it's starting to get a little shaggy again. And what I mean by shaggy, it looks like it's hard to see. It's beautiful. Some of it is just not. Makes a lot of pasta. All right, I am going to stop right there. Oh, it stopped on its own. So I noticed that it's going, so when there's just a little bit left in there, it actually goes back into the mixing mode to move the dough forward so that the auger can pick it up and it'll start extruding again. That's pretty cool. But what I meant by jagged, if you can see right there, it looks like saw teeth, where this one is nice and smooth. And that was happening at the very beginning and near the end of that cycle. 2 cups of flour, or 500 grams, makes a lot of pasta. All right, we're stopping it. So I have some water on the stove coming up to a boil. I do want to add salt, because even with store-bought pasta, I always add salt. And I'm just going to take a small little handful, drop it in there. Now, fresh pasta actually cooks faster than dry pasta or even store-bought dry pasta. So we're only going to cook that for about a minute or 2, and then I'm just going to put a little bit of butter on it, and then we'll taste it. Now this was just flour and water. We salted our boiling water, but we did not salt the pasta. So we're just going to basically cook that, just to cook the rawness out of it. Let me go ahead and start taking this apart. All right, we're going to stop it right there. I'm going to put this in a strainer in the sink. We're not going to put no salt or pepper or anything. I'm just going to put just a half of a teaspoon of butter. I didn't rinse the pasta or anything. So cooked, drained, and then a little bit of butter. Okay, let's taste it. No, that literally tastes like flour. There's no taste. The texture's good, the chew is good, but the flavor, no. Definitely would not just do flour and water. Give me a second. Let me regroup here and we'll start the second batch. All right, so experiment number 2 is going to be the flour, egg, and water. And I am doing the 1 cup measure, so I have 250 grams of flour, 1 egg, and I'm going to fill it up to water to the egg water line for the 1 cup. We're going to beat that together. Perfect. So we're going to add our 250 grams of flour. Put the lid on. Power. Start. And slowly add in the egg and the water. Again, no salt. And it's going to mix for 3 minutes going in that direction, and then it'll do a reverse to start extruding out the pasta. And notice I have some egg whites that's not going through. There we go. If you make homemade pasta, do you use your KitchenAid to make your dough? Do you make it by hand? Is this something that you think you would be interested in? I enjoy making pasta. I enjoy kneading it by hand. But when you're making a big volume of pasta, like I have some raviolis I want to make, and if this can make it faster for me, and I can just focus on just making the ravioli, I think it's going to be worth it. I wanted a pasta machine that would make a tube pasta like macaroni or penne. We do have a tube pasta. It's not necessarily a macaroni pasta, but it could be used as a macaroni pasta. All right, 3 minutes is up. Now it's going backwards, and it's going to start extruding. There we go. I don't like the first bits. Like I said, if I was making pasta to eat, I would pause the machine and throw this right back in there. But since we're just experimenting, I'm just going to throw this away. I have water on the stove coming up to a boil so we can taste test this one. Again, no salt, just egg and water. I'm thinking I like this better than the last one, but I still want to test it with the oils just to see if we like that one better. This is still the fettuccine faceplate. That's the only way to do a true test, is to test this same type of pasta 3 different ways. And then we're going to play with all the attachments. It just amazes me how warm it comes out. And I'm sure that's just from the friction of the auger pushing that dough through. Starting to get a little shaggy again. So taste test number 2, egg and water and flour. That definitely tastes more like pasta. So we know we want egg in our pasta and not just plain water. We're getting there, family. I'm going to go ahead and stop it, tear it apart, and then we're going to make it the same way, but we're going to add just a tad bit of oil, and I'm thinking 1 teaspoon will be enough. So I'll bring you right back when we're ready to get started. So in their measuring cup, I have 1 egg. I'm going to add a tablespoon of olive oil. Then I'm going to fill it up to the egg water line with water. 250 grams of flour. Put the lid back on. Power. Start. And now we're going to add the water, egg, and oil. And again, it's going to mix for 3 minutes, reverse, and start extruding. I'm hoping this is the pasta. We still haven't put salt in there in our dough yet. I do add salt when I make homemade pasta, but we're testing it one ingredient at a time to see which consistency we like so that we can write this recipe down, we can move on and actually make pasta. I have water coming up to a boil on the stove. We'll cook this one and then we'll do a taste test for this pasta. I really thought this was going to be a plug and play. You're done. I wasn't expecting us to do an experiment on seeing which recipe we want. Their recipes that they have in their little booklet does not include salt, does not include oils, doesn't include any additives you want. Like some people like beet pasta where you could put beet powder in here, or spinach, sun-dried tomatoes, all the things. Doesn't give us those options, and those are the options that I want to be able to experiment with to see which one we like. We're going to get there. It's just going to take time to figure out what we like. We have about 10 seconds left and it's going to start extruding. You ready? It's so cool. It looks like the color of my pasta when I make it. This is going to be promising, family. It just amazes me how warm it is when it comes out. Let's go ahead and give a batch of this in this pot and we'll cook that. I'm going to go ahead and let this do its full cycle because it should pause, go the opposite direction to start picking up some more of the dough bits, and then it'll extrude again. We're going to wait and see if that happens. Test number 3, egg, water, and oil. That is pretty good. I think it really needs the salt though. So we did 250 grams of flour, 1 egg, a teaspoon of oil, and the rest of it with water up to the egg water measure. Now okay, it stopped. It's reversing. Now I want to test a recipe that has salt in it, but I'm still going to salt the water like we always do. But this is actually pretty good. All right, now it's going to turn the other way and start extruding again. We're getting there. All right, I think we're at the end. I'm going to pause it, turn it off. I'm going to show you how it's taken apart and cleaned. Let me take the lid off. Take the face cover off. Take the disc off, and you'll see some dough right there. It comes with a little cleaning pick. You want to make sure you get all the dough bits out of each one of those holes. And then we're going to pick out in each hole to make sure we don't have no dough bits. And now it's completely clean and we can see each one of those holes. That's a lot of waste if you ask me, but we're not going to worry about the waste right now. We're playing with it. We're just experimenting. Put all that in the trash. We're going to take the auger off and clean this. I'm going to run this under the sink just to clean it a little bit better than what we have here. All right, we're going to put it back together. I did not wash the dough bowl because I'm going to be making dough anyway. So we're going to put the auger back in. We're going to put the face plate, line it up with those screw holes. And now we're going to play with different sizes. This is an egg noodle, and there is actually a notch right there. We line it up to here. And then we put the main face cover on. And then we'll start screwing it down, tighten those nuts up right here. Holds everything together. And since I want to test out each one of these disc shapes, I'm going to go ahead and do 500 grams of flour. Perfect, 500 grams. We're going to put 2 eggs. Two teaspoons of olive oil, and enough water to go to our water egg line. Perfect. Now this one I am going to add salt. I'm going to add just a half a teaspoon of salt. And this is a 1/4 teaspoon measure. Let's put our lid on. Power button and start. Okay, 5 more seconds. Okay, I'm going to pause it. And I want to change the plates. Not ideal to do this while you're still working on it. I want to do each one without wasting a lot of ingredients. Ooh, goodness. It's harder when you got the pressure of the dough behind it. Family, don't do this at home. Okay, let's do the square spaghetti. Pause. I'm really shocked at how tight that is when it's got pressure behind it. Let's try a fettuccine noodle. Resume. Okay, pause. Now we're going to try the round spaghetti. All right, pause. I wish the husband was here. Ooh, it'd be a lot easier if he was here helping me. Okay, there we go. No, you don't. Okay, this is what happened last time. Pause. All right, so the husband just happened to come in the kitchen and he fixed it for me. I want to show you what we did at the near the end of this video. So now we're going to use the angel hair pasta, and I did put a little bit more oil in this opening. Okay, on. Pause. Now the angel hair pasta attachment actually has its own cleaning tool that you can get all 7 holes at the same time, because they're super, super small. And now we're going to do the noodle pasta, like a macaroni or a penne. Do want to make sure we put oil on here also, so we don't get it stuck again. Okay, let's put the outer plate back on. Now this is one that I was really excited about. Okay, I'm going to hit pause, and we have one more attachment to test. This inner plate comes off. Oh yeah, this is a 2-part plate, and this is going to be the sheet pasta. Put oil on it, line it up, put our face plate back on. We are getting to the end of our dough. So I'm not sure if that has something to do with why the flat noodle is looking like this. I'm going to go ahead and let the rest of this dough turn into flat noodles. It has stopped. It is reversing to move things forward, and then it'll start the other way to start extruding the dough. Even though it looks like a large tube pasta, it isn't. It has a spot at the bottom that is cut to make it not tube, so it's actually a flat pasta. You can make it as long or as short as you like. I think I'm going to have to experiment on the flat pasta a little bit more, because I'm not sure if the reason it's looking so jagged on this one is because we had it open for a good amount of time trying to get the macaroni pasta out. So that's probably my fault, because after this first piece came out, the second piece also was a little torn. But the last couple pieces are continual. It's not torn. So it might have been because that front area dried out because I had the face cover off. Only time will tell. I'm gonna let this one just go as long as it can get. Okay, I think we are done. All right, it's reversing. And now it's going the other way to extrude more pasta. But I don't think we have any more in there to extrude. It's pretty much stopped right here. All right, we're gonna call it pause, power. Yep, that one ripped too. All right, let me take this all apart, get the bits and pieces in the dishwater so we can start washing it. So the lasagna noodle, or the flat noodle, does come apart. This auger is very warm. Now we're going to take a tour. So this is the flat pasta. I need to experiment with that just a bit. And it's a two-part. And it has these little notches right there that has to go in here. Perfect. Right there. The macaroni type pasta, which is what I was excited about, is also a two-part. This does not have a notch. So it just goes in there just like that. The round spaghetti, the linguine, egg noodles, the square spaghetti. There's not much difference between the round spaghetti except the pasta is round and the square spaghetti that the pasta is square. Fettuccine is a little jaggedy. I'm not sure about that. We're going to have to experiment some more on that. The angel hair pasta is super, super small. And it comes with a face cutter to cut your pasta to the length you want it. We have the angel hair pasta attachment cleaner. And it fits so it goes through all 7 holes for each one at the same time. We have the regular attachment cleaner to be able to go in here and remove any bits and pieces of the dough left. A drawer to organize 7 different attachments. We have 8, so one has to pretty much live on the face of the machine at all times. Cleaning is super easy. We just wipe down the machine. We have all the other parts in the sink, hot soapy water, letting that soak. I'm going to wash all these attachments also before I put it away. And just know when the recipe calls for a cup of flour, it's not a measuring cup that we know. It's one of their cups. So if it's 1 cup to 1 egg and water. We like ours with oil, a little bit of salt. And the measurements for water only and water and egg, there is a slight difference. I cannot see those lines. So each time I use it, I'll make sure I put a little bit of permanent marker on those lines so I know where I need to go to without having to bend over and look or lift it up and look. I'll be able to see it straight there. Is it dishwasher safe? It is not saying anything about whether it is or is not dishwasher safe. You know, I don't have a dishwasher, so that doesn't matter to me. But some of y'all might have a dishwasher and you're curious. I'm not sure. If you know the answer to that question, leave a comment below and let us know if it's dishwasher safe. We need to air dry the attachment disc once we wash them for 2 to 4 hours before we even put it back into the storage drawer or start using them, because you want to make sure they're completely dry before we store them or use them. Which pasta shape am I interested in making? The noodle pasta. I am super excited to be able to make homemade noodle type pasta with ingredients we know and ingredients we trust. I'm excited about that. I can see macaroni and cheese in my future. Egg noodles will come in handy when I want to make a soup and I need a wide pasta, and we can always just cut those as long as we want them so they fit on a spoon. Fettuccine is a little jaggedy. I got to figure out what's going on there. Now, would I go out and buy this machine myself? Probably not. And why do I say that? Because we know how to make homemade pasta. We have the old hand cranky countertop attachments that we can make pasta. We have a pasta attachment to our KitchenAid. They were under $70. The KitchenAid attachment that also makes flat noodles and raviolis, I think was around $60. I've had it for a couple years. The countertop attachment, the hand cranky one, I think I paid $60 or $70 for that. That makes flat pasta, linguine, and fettuccine. Doesn't make spaghetti. So we really didn't need this machine. I wanted this machine for the noodles, and that's the only reason. So when the husband asked me what I wanted for Christmas, I told him something that I knew I would not buy myself. So I asked him for the pasta machine. He delivered. Am I glad I got it? Yes. I love kitchen gadgets. I love kitchen toys. Anything that we can make from scratch and make her life easier, I'm all for it. Do you think you would want a pasta machine? And if you already have one, which one do you have? And what are the pros and cons of the machine you have compared to the pros and cons to the one I have? Now, if you do get this one, just remember to put a little bit of olive oil right here in the entrance of where the attachments go, because they do get stuck from the pressure of the pasta pushing. Now, what my husband did, he poured some olive oil on when it was stuck. He just poured a little drop of olive oil inside here, let it sit for a minute. He turned it over this way. He put it on a kitchen towel, and then he took a washcloth, put it on top of where the attachment is stuck, and he took a hammer, barely tapped it, and it released. You don't want to hit it hard because it is plastic. It can break. Or if you're using the flat pasta one, it has a metal in the middle. You don't want to warp that where it's not going to make flat pasta. So just keep those two things in mind, that when you're hitting it, hit it very lightly, because it can, and in my case, will get stuck. So I need to work on the flat pasta, or I'll just go back and use my hand cranky flat pasta. I need to do something with this fettuccine so it doesn't look so jagged. Everything else turned out fine. Can't wait to make macaroni and cheese with the noodle pasta. I'm so excited. So if you like videos like this, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I would absolutely love having you part of the Grammy family. In this kitchen, we try to do things as much as possible from scratch, homemade, real ingredients, healthy foods to eat, including pasta. So until next time, y'all have a blessed day. Bye, family. But I'm happy.